Welcome to the Stardom Situm Show as we head into week 3. I am Marcus Grant, joined by Michael F. Florio. And Florio, this, of all the shows we do, this might have the best opening beat to it. I feel like we should get them to just cut this as a track, and I'm just going to loop it on Spotify.
Honestly, we should get one of the listeners to try to write lyrics or something that fit the beat, and then that's our new theme song.
That could totally be our theme song. If there's somebody out there who watches this show who is a lyricist who wants to put something down over this track for the Stardom Situm Show, we are all about it. Tweet us at NFL Fantasy, and maybe we can make something happen. We'll figure that out. Anyway, you know how this show works. Every week, Michael F. Florio puts out his list of starts and sits. You can find it at NFL.com/start-sit, and we go through a handful of them. And then, of course, you can tweet at him either at NFL Fantasy or at Michael F. Florio, and you can let him know your thoughts, because we know that the internet is a reasoned, measured place and that no one is going to have weird, hot, angry takes about anything that Florio writes or says. So, it's going to be fun. All right, let's just dive right into it. Let's take a look by starting. Let's start by taking a look, I should say, at your list of quarterbacks. Who you got?
I think Matthew Stafford in a great matchup is in play this week. Kirk Cousins, I'm going back for more after a down week 2 in a better matchup. Joe Burrow, I think he bounces back. And then Carson Wentz, I'm trusting his playmakers there. The sits, Russell Wilson, who him and the Broncos offense have been struggling. Tua, coming off of that 6-touchdown game, I would still sit him. Jameis Winston, and then struggling Matt Ryan in the Colts offense. I would not be trusting him.
Well, let's look at some of those guys on that list. First off, I love the Kirk Cousins call. I think he bounces back after a rough night against the Eagles on Monday night. But Carson Wentz in the revenge game against the Philadelphia Eagles, the team that drafted him. He had one really great season. Then he got kicked to the curb after things sort of went sideways. It has been, look, the first halves have not been great. The second halves have been a lot better. But you think he keeps it rolling this week, huh?
Yeah, I'm going to ride with the hot hand here. Carson Wentz has been a top 5 fantasy quarterback in each of the first 2 games, throwing for over 300 yards and at least 3 touchdowns in each. The Eagles offense, I know they held Kirk Cousins and the Vikings in check in week 2, but they gave up a bunch of points in week 1, and this is really me just trusting the playmakers around Carson Wentz. I think when you have Terry McLaurin, Dotson, Curtis Samuel, Logan Thomas, and then the running backs there as well, there's just enough playmakers where even if Wentz himself doesn't have the best game, I think those guys will do enough damage after the catch.
Yeah, I worry at some point the wheels are going to fall off. There's going to be one week where it falls apart for Carson Wentz. Hopefully it's not this week, because he has been very good the first 2 weeks of the season. Another guy on your stardom list was Joe Burrow, and the first 2 weeks have not been particularly great. He's been under a ton of pressure. The other day, I was going to get lunch. I was in the parking lot of a Jamaican restaurant near my house, and this guy drives by, and he's like, "Hey, I need you to tell me that it's going to be okay with Joe Burrow. What am I going to do?" I tried to reassure him, but in case that guy is watching this show, you have more words of reassurance for him.
Yeah, 1, that is an awesome story. 2, I need to hit up this restaurant with you. You've told me a lot about it. I definitely have to check it out. But I think Joe Burrow is in play this week because I know he's had a down year. Week 1, 338 yards, multiple touchdowns, a career high in rushing yards. That's a pretty good game for a down game. He struggled in week 2. The whole thing, though, is he's been sacked more than anyone. He was sacked 7 times in week 1, 6 times in week 2. The Jets, though, only have 3 sacks as a team coming into week 3. So I think this is a game where Burrow will have more time, a little bit more time to stand up and get that deep ball to Higgins, to Chase. I think Burrow bounces back in week 3.
The thing I mentioned on Fantasy Lives, that the first 2 weeks, he saw some awesome pass rushes. Week 1, it was TJ Watt and the Steelers. Week 2, it was Micah Parsons and the Cowboys. The Jets don't have anybody like either one of those guys on their defense, so maybe it'll be better. Tua Tagovailoa coming off that huge game against the Ravens, a career high in passing yards, 6 touchdowns. This week he faces your Bills. I'm not going to say this is a homer pick because this game worries me too. It feels a little bit like chasing the points if we were going to start him this week.
Yeah, I'm a big Tua Tagovailoa supporter. I was coming into the year. I think beyond this week, you could get him in your lineup. It's just this is the toughest matchup for quarterbacks. Right now, the Bills are allowing by far the fewest fantasy points to quarterbacks. They held Matthew Stafford in check in week 1. Ryan Tannehill, it got so out of hand, they benched him in week 2. And this is after the Bills last year allowed the fewest fantasy points, passing yards, and touchdowns to quarterbacks. So it's more than just a couple of weeks. This is a trend that we've seen over the last couple of seasons. Tua struggled in his one game against the Bills last year, threw for 205 yards, no touchdowns, and an interception. I will point out that right now both Bills safeties are up in the air. If those guys end up sitting, I think Tua becomes a more appealing option. But I think this is one of those weeks, Marcus, where you sit him. If he has a good game, you just say, hey, he's matchup proof now. I could start him each and every week. And even if he struggles, I think you can go back to him week 4 on.
I think the saving grace is potentially this game being high scoring. So maybe that sort of works into his favor, but a lot of it makes me nervous, and I'm staying away where I can. Let's move on to your wide receivers. Taking a look at your stardom sit-ems there. Who you got?
I'm riding the hot hand there with Garrett Wilson against the Bengals. I think Drake London is another rookie in a good matchup that you get in your lineup. I'm trusting Curtis Samuel there. And Jacoby Myers getting a lot of volume in a good matchup. I think he's a deeper play. I'm sitting DK Metcalf, Brandon Ayuk, Darnell Mooney, Adam Thielen, all big names that are just struggling volume-wise and production-wise coming into week 3.
Well, let's start at the top of that stardom list with Garrett Wilson. Had the big breakout game this past week against the Cleveland Browns, and it felt like sort of his announcement, his arrival announcement for the Jets. So you feel like he keeps it going this week?
Yeah, I loved that in week 1, he already saw 8 targets. He had a solid game in week 1, but then he really built upon it in week 2. 14 targets. No one on the Jets was even close. He finished that week with 30 fantasy points. Somehow was the wide receiver 6 just because others at the position went off. But he's currently a wide receiver 1 on the year. And what I like is no one has passed more than the Jets this year. 75% of their plays have been passes. And I know that's because they've been trailing and having to come back. I think that this could be another game where they're struggling or chasing points, trying to keep up with Joe Burrow and that high-powered Bengals offense. I know they haven't been high-powered, but I think they bounce back, and I think that leads to good things for Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, I think, as we talked about, if Burrow's not under pressure, he's able to throw the football effectively. That means the Bengals score points, which means Joe Flacco and the Jets have to throw to kind of stay in the football game. Over to Curtis Samuel, and we've talked plenty on the NFL Fantasy Football Show about the Washington offense being interesting this year. Every team seems to be trying to find a Deebo Samuel. Deebo is one of one as far as I'm concerned, but if there is a reasonable facsimile, I feel like it's been Curtis Samuel the first couple of weeks.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And the way they use him is partly why I have him as a start this week. I know the Eagles secondary has a lot of talent, but I think they'll be shadowing Terry McLaurin and Dotson, who have been the downfield receivers in this offense, and then they're using Logan Thomas in like the intermediate. Curtis Samuel's averaging less than 3 air yards per target. They're just quickly getting the ball into his hands, letting him do what he does after the catch, and it's leading to a lot of production. He leads his team in targets. I think that he is a reliable wide receiver too, even in this tough matchup, just because of the way he's been being used.
I mean, they're running. I think they line him up in the backfield, I think 10% of the time. So he's getting carries, he's getting targets. Maybe not a big downfield guy, but they're just putting the ball in his hands and sort of letting him work. All right, let's get to a little rapid fire session. We're calling it How We Feelin', which is about guys that we're getting a lot of questions about on social media. And again, you can always hit us up on Twitter at NFL Fantasy. So I'm just going to rip through some guys, give you a name, and you give me just a few seconds on how you feel, whether or not you'd start him or sit him this week. Let's start with the GOAT, Tom Brady against the Packers, where he may not have any of his receivers.
Yeah, I'm more worried than I thought I would be coming into week 3. I think Brady's a low-end QB1 that you could get away from this week.
All right, let's go to the guy on the other side, Aaron Rodgers, a game that, again, not a big point total expected between these two teams. Packers passing game is struggling. How are we feeling about Rodgers?
Even worse about him than about Brady. I think he's in play as a low-end QB1, but if I have another QB on my roster that I like, I'm fine going the other direction.
Over to Minnesota, Justin Jefferson, like pretty much the entire Vikings offense, put up a dud on Monday night. How are we feeling about Jefferson this week?
He's fine. He's a top 5 wide receiver every single week. I'd never even consider getting him out of my lineup.
All right, now CeeDee Lamb, he's playing on Monday night against the Giants. The target share has been good. The production's been just so-so. How are we feeling here?
I think he's like a volatile wide receiver too, one that I think you can play depending on what your other options are, though.
Over to San Francisco, I mentioned Deebo Samuel, he being a one of one. Right now, he's just a wide receiver 25 on this season, but he's got Jimmy Garoppolo back. So how are we feeling?
I would still be riding with Deebo. I think having Jimmy G back and being in kind of a normal game where it's not terrible weather or your quarterback's getting injured will only do him well.
Some consistency would probably be nice for Deebo. Javonte Williams on the other side of that game against the 49ers on Sunday night. The RB14 on the season. How are we feeling about him against the good Niner defense?
I'm still going to ride with him solely because of all the pass work he's been seeing. So I think that keeps him in play as an RB2 with more upside.
We've talked a lot about the Washington pass catchers, but let's talk about Antonio Gibson. Just 28 rushing yards in last week's game, but did have a touchdown. How are we feeling about him against the Eagles?
I think he's like a volatile low-end RB2 who week one I loved the pass game usage, but it kind of went away. It feels like a mirage right now.
Antonio Gibson, kind of that guy that we've been freaking out about, at least mildly freaking out about all throughout fantasy draft season. All right, coming up, we've got Florio's top starts and sits for the tight end position, plus our finger-licking good starts of the week. Still plenty more to do here on the Start 'em Sit 'em. Taking a look at the start and sit tight ends for week 3. Florio, take us through them.
Kyle Pitts is there because I'm never giving up on Kyle Pitts. I also like both of the LA tight ends in Tyler Higbee and Gerald Everett. And then in that game against Everett, I'm going to go with Evan Ingram, who was more used in week 2. And then some sits, Isaiah Likely, Cole Kmet, Taysom Hill. Those are guys who I know were streaming options in week 2. I would get away. And then Albert O just did not love the usage in week 2.
Yeah, I might have to give up on my Albert O dream, which sort of hurts my heart. Also, I put Evan Ingram in my sleepers column this week, and I started by saying I know I'm going to hate myself later. But here we are. This is what we're doing in week 3. Let's talk, though. Let's go back to our weekly check-in on Kyle Pitts, because it seems like this is where we are right now. There's a part of me that thinks that Arthur Smith is going to pepper him with targets just so we all shut the hell up. I don't care. I'll take spiked targets, but it just feels like at some point Kyle Pitts is due for a big game.
Yeah, and I think it's exactly kind of what you said, like a squeaky wheel type of game, because the narrative now is like they're not throwing the ball to Kyle Pitts, so we could see them throw the ball a bunch to Kyle Pitts. He's currently tied for 15th amongst tight ends in total targets, but he's still getting a bunch of air yards, which is why I still think his upside is met only by the elite tight ends here because of what he can do as a field stretcher. Additionally, he opened the year against the Saints and Rams, 2 stout defenses that are currently in the bottom 5 in fantasy points allowed to tight ends. They were also tough on the position last year. Now he gets a Seahawks defense that has struggled against the position. I think this is Kyle Pitts' get-right game.
People are kind of freaking out about him. This feels like a buy low opportunity, definitely on Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, I sent out a few trade offers myself yesterday.
Other guy, Tyler Higbee. Now that end of his 2019 season, is very much in the rearview mirror. That felt, in retrospect, sort of like an anomaly, sort of like a fluke. But watching him early in the season, the Rams are really targeting him. It looks like Tyler Higbee could be a thing all year long.
Yeah, right now he currently leads all tight ends with 20 targets and 96% of the snaps played. So he's not coming off the field, and Matthew Stafford is clearly throwing him the ball a lot. He's the tight end 7 on the year, and then it's all about the matchup as well. Like, the Cardinals have allowed by far the most fantasy points, catches, receiving yards, and touchdowns to tight ends. And then on top of that, I think this game has a chance to be a very high-scoring game, which means even more passing. So for me, I picked up Tyler Higbee in a couple of leagues, and I'm starting him everywhere I have him.
I feel like Higbee right now is a guy that has to be in your lineup, getting plenty of targets. And the Cardinal defense, it's bad. So this is a good start for me as well. It's time now for Finger Licking Good Start of the Week, presented by KFC. We're looking at some guys that deserve a little bit more love, a little bit more hype, and probably should be in a few more lineups. So for you, who was your first start of the week here?
I'm going to go with Marquise Brown, who is someone that I was hyping up coming into the season. And I know his start of the season hasn't been as great as we all thought. He did have a touchdown in week 1 to salvage his day. But 11 targets in week 2, I think that needs some more attention. We know that he's already one of the better downfield targets. We know he already has a connection with Kyler Murray. I think in this matchup against the Rams, where again, I think it could be a higher scoring game, I think we'll get some deep shots downfield. I think Marquise Brown is still a high-end wide receiver 2 with the upside to finish as a wide receiver 1 any week.
Yeah, Brown is getting a lot of work. I sort of like Greg Dortch, too, as a sleeper after what he's done the first couple of weeks in Arizona. This is one that you and I are sort of on opposite sides on. You've got DK Metcalf as a sit. I think he's actually a start this week against the Atlanta Falcons. We've seen the Falcons the first couple of weeks give up big games to Michael Thomas, then to Cooper Kupp. They just seem to have problems with number one wide receivers. It feels like this is a chance for DK to get right a little bit. On top of it, we got Pete Carroll out here suggesting that he might hashtag let Geno cook. Now, I don't know what that means. It might be opening a can of Chef Boyardee, but I at least like the idea and the spirit of it. So I think this is a week that we see the Seahawks try to push the ball downfield, get their playmakers involved. So I think that we might actually have a decent week out of DK Metcalf against Atlanta.
I definitely love the matchup. It's more the fact that I don't trust what Geno and Pete's cooking might look like. But I think if there's ever a week to trust the matchup with DK, it would be against the Falcons.
I can't wait to see the memes of, let Geno. The let Russ cook memes are pretty funny. I can't imagine the let Geno cook memes, what they're going to look like. Allen Robinson's been off to a slow start so far this season, but this feels like you mentioned Tyler Higbee getting healthy, or actually getting healthier, I guess. A-Rob gets healthy this week too, huh?
Yeah, this is just a game that I want to target for fantasy purposes because every Cardinals game so far has been high scoring, and I think that this one will continue that trend as well. Robinson saw more usage in week 2 than week 1. It wasn't quite what we wanted it to be, but he did score a touchdown. But that was a game, though, where the Rams kind of had a lead and they could take their foot off the gas a little bit. We just saw what the Cardinals did coming back against the Raiders. I don't think we're going to see that happen even if the Rams have a lead. So I think Allen Robinson is still in play as a borderline top 20 wide receiver.
I sort of had to readjust a little bit on A-Rob just because so much work is going to Tyler Higbee, which I didn't quite anticipate. I'm not out by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm recalibrating a little bit after the first couple of weeks. My other one is Dawson Knox for the Buffalo Bills. I mean, with a lot of tight ends, after you get past maybe the top 5 or so tight ends, you're talking about being touchdown dependent. But I really do think this is a situation where Knox can get a lot of targets in a game that potentially is high scoring. The Bills are spreading the football around to a lot of guys. I mean, Stephon Diggs obviously is going to eat. We'll see if Gabe Davis is back and what sort of workload he might get here. But beyond that, everybody's getting opportunity. But it feels like the middle of the field could be open, and I think Dawson Knox is going to get some opportunities. I would say this. I thought last week it looked like there was a play where maybe Stephon Diggs had stepped in front of Dawson Knox to get a touchdown, which kind of had me upset. But then I saw the replay. It looked actually more like Allen was sort of targeting Diggs and Knox was just kind of in the vicinity. But for a minute, I was going to be upset that I felt like Stephon Diggs was being greedy and selfish and was taking opportunities away from our tight end potential there. All right, up next, we got top starts and sits for the running back position. Plus, who's going to put up enough points to get past the velvet ropes and into Club Dub this weekend? We're talking, guys, we guarantee we'll score 25 points. That's next on the Stardom Cinema Show. Okay, taking a look at the Stardom Situm running backs for week 3. Florio, who you got on your list?
James Robinson back like he never left. I would start him. I'd also ride with David Montgomery, the one bear I would start. Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And then I'm going to trust Tony Pollard in the pass game usage there. And the sits, I'm sitting Devin Singletary. I like the matchup for Rashad Penny, but the usage was far too confusing in week 2. And then Travis Etienne and Chase Edmonds, they just look like backup running backs right now. So get them out of your starting lineup.
Well, let's talk about James Robinson because you mentioned it. He's back like he never left. We had questions about his usage rate, his workload. In the first 2 weeks, he has answered all of those and more. And he's really made us look like we overdrafted Travis Etienne after the first couple weeks.
Yeah, you talk about back like he never left. Week 2, he played 63% of the snaps with 23 carries and 2 targets. I mean, this is a guy who just tore his Achilles. He's getting 25 opportunities in his second game back, but he sat between 15 and 20 fantasy points in each of his first 2 games. He's currently the RB6 on the season, and I know the Chargers defense is much improved from what it was last year, but last year they did allow the most fantasy points to running backs. So I trust the workload that Robinson's going to see. He looks like his old self. I say you start him.
Yeah, I think you got to get him in your lineup until further notice. I mean, he's looking like a solid RB2 for sure after the first couple of weeks. Devin Singletary, a player that I know we both like, but for me and maybe for you, it's just that there's just too many mouths to feed in that Buffalo backfield and not nearly enough opportunities to go around.
Yeah, and I know we could say like, oh, it was a blowout in week 2, but he has just 10 opportunities in weeks 1 and 2, that being carries plus targets. Like you said, Zach Moss has been stealing some pass game work there. James Cook is still involved, and then you always have to worry about Josh Allen vulturing carries and touchdowns near the goal line. To me, it's just too much uncertainty week to week. I like holding Devin Singletary in case he carves out a larger role like he did last year, but right now I don't think I could start him at all.
Yeah, it's basically a four-headed attack, as you mentioned, in the Buffalo backfield, and that's just too much. Even with a high-scoring offense, it just hasn't really translated to a lot of fantasy production. All right, we're going to Club Dub. Who is getting into Club Dub this week?
I'm going with Amon-Ra St. Brown,
Yeah!
the
Woo-hoo!
Sun God. He is the most savage player in the NFL right now. He said after that game, he was like, I looked on the sideline to try to locate Dyami Brown, who was a wide receiver taking over me. I didn't see him out there. Like, my God. Amon-Ra St. Brown, though, he finished last year as the wide receiver 2 down the stretch, only behind Cooper Kupp, and he just picked up where he's left off. He's clearly their best player on offense. He's clearly their top target. He's going to get lots of usage. He's going to be used near the goal line, which you love as well. And in the matchup against the Vikings, where I think it could low-key be a high-scoring game with two of these higher-powered offenses bouncing back after down week 2, I would say get Amon-Ra St. Brown in all of your lineups because he's going to go off this week.
Amon-Ra St. Brown is like the Arya Stark of the NFL right now, just listing off the names of people that have wronged him. For me, I'm staying in that same game. I'm going the other side. It's Dalvin Cook. I got 2 money guns. That's how fired up I am about Dalvin Cook this week. Absolutely. Look, I know that he wasn't great in week 2, and even week 1 was just sort of mediocre. So for anybody who's a little bit down on Dalvin Cook, I'm telling you to keep the faith. This is a week I think he gets back into it. We know he's on the field a ton. We know he's getting a ton of touches. It's a game that could really be high scoring. Plus, Cook is getting targets here. Everything points toward Dalvin Cook having a big breakout game. I think he's a top 3 running back for sure this week. And so if you've been panicked about him, you're worried about what's going to happen, I tell you to worry no more. Dalvin Cook is not only going to be in Club Dub, he's going to be popping bottles, getting bottle serves, getting little sparklers coming over his table with the mixers and everything. It's going to be fine for Dalvin Cook this week, which is weird. We're talking about a Vikings-Lions game. It's going to be high scoring. I don't know the last time we've ever been able to say that.
No, but these are 2 fun offenses, I think, with a lot of like young, fun, exciting fantasy players. And also, Marcus, I love that, last week you didn't sneak up on us with the money gun, so you brought last week's money gun out with you and just was dual wielding it. I loved it.
Yeah, we gotta go big, man. We're re-announcing Dalvin Cook to the world, so we gotta go big with the dual money guns there. By the way, if you enjoyed this show, which we hope you did, there's plenty of me and Florio and the rest of the NFL fantasy team. You can check out the new fantasy Q&A show on Tuesdays and Fridays. We're answering all your lineup questions, so you can tweet them to us at NFL Fantasy. You can also catch us streaming at 7 p.m. Eastern in the NFL Fantasy app, NFL.com, and the NFL Fast channel on your TVs. Show's also available on demand and as a podcast in the NFL Fantasy Football Show feed. So if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe right now. So Florio, that is it. We are headed fully into week 3. I always say, like, this is the week that hopefully we know things. We overcorrect once after week 1. We overcorrect again after week 2. So after week 3, we're going to know everything in the world, right? That's just how it works.
Fantasy Twitter will tell you that.
Right? Exactly. In the meantime, that's going to do it for this edition of the Stardom Situm Show. We appreciate you watching. For Florio, I'm Marcus. Enjoy week 3, and we'll talk to you again soon.